or family anymore because they're all dead, you know. But I belong to a wonderful family made up of my lover and our extended sort of group of friends.
Ian and Gary can't have children for reasons of law and biology, but some gay parents have already taken the plunge. Jordan is just like any 6-year-old. An early riser, she just happens to have 2 mummies. Miranda and Belinda are lesbians, who celebrated their holy union 4 years ago.
What do you want for breakfast, Jordan?
Can I have some muffins, please?
Miranda conceived Jordan thanks to a favour performed by a male workmate. Given the diversity of family life today, they see nothing at all extraordinary about their setup.
There are many families out there that have a female raising them alone, you know, the children, or a male raising the children alone, or...
Sometimes even grandparents have to raise children on their own, because in these times and day and age, both parents have to go out working. Most of the child care, as far as nurturing, is done by grandparents or an extended family situation.
Both women have kith and kin who provide the support network any family needs. But one person is missing, the man who made Jordan possible, an absence Miranda and Belinda believe will not affect their daughter's development.
Oh, this is for me.
Oh, have a look at that.
She's already talking about boyfriends, and we say to her, he's a boy and he's a friend, because, I mean, you've got to wait a little while for these things, you know? It has to be the right time for things, and hopefully the person that she will be with when she grows up will be someone who loves her and
respects her for who she is,
yeah,
rather than for her sexuality.
Yeah.
So you're very adamant that, you know, any child must find their own way?
Definitely.
Now Belinda wants to add to the family and is hoping for a baby boy.
You did well.
People are always trying to say that 2 women together or 2 men together doesn't make a family, but I think they've sort of got to try and come away from the sexuality side of things and come down more to what can you offer a child as far as stability, warmth, care, love, respect. And I think those points come through. Well, then that constitutes a family rather than what sex your parents are.
What is the family in the 90s? Nobody knows. Have you seen the new Medicare forms? Under family, you have to list, you know, husbands, fathers, brothers, daughters, sisters. And under definition for the family, it says, look at section C. Look at section C, it says, insert word of your choice. I took my nephew, Ollie, into a children's library the other day to borrow some books, and they had the whole new display of the books that had just been published coming in up there on the shelves, and I was horrified at some of the titles. Mummy doesn't live here anymore. Are You My Mummy? The Story of a Surrogate Pregnancy. Lara has 2 daddies. Yeah. And it makes Enid Blyton look totally banal, doesn't it? All she tried to do was tell us that occasionally Noddy and Big Ears slept together. Big deal.
Single-parent families are a growing feature of 90s family life. The high divorce rate of the last 20 years has greatly increased the number of people out there going it alone. Ironically, while the number of single-parent families is going up, many feel they still have to fight for acceptance as proper families.
Christine Mulligan struggled for 13 years to make her troubled marriage work. She even moved her family 14 times to escape the problems that eventually tore the marriage apart.
Breakfast is at the hall.
Yes, but we're talking about this tonight.
Oh,
Tonight we go to Warrington.
Yeah.
She finally left him 6 years ago to raise her 3 daughters on her own.
What are you up to now?
When Christine walked out on a comfortable 2-income family, she became one of Australia's 620,000 single parents, 84% of whom are women. The number of single-parent families in this country increased by 42% over the past decade, and there are now 1 million children growing up in one-parent households. But the Conservative backlash against single parents is continuing, and mothers like Christine Mulligan still have to defend their families against claims that they're illegitimate.
You've got some ice water.
Well, that'll do then.
I was told in no uncertain terms that we didn't belong in you of the family because we weren't a family, and I was very angry. What makes us any less of a family just because there's no male in the house?
Christine's taken on a second job teaching ballroom dancing to try to make ends meet. She works full-time as a primary school teacher, and as a result, she's ineligible for any government assistance. By her calculations, she'll still be working at night until 1997 just to pay for her children's dental work.
You're exhausted, physically exhausted. It's emotionally draining. Financially, it's difficult. You're constantly trying to check and balance budgets and re-budget when there's an excursion that comes in that you didn't expect.
Like many single parents, Christine relies heavily on her children for support. And her mother, Joy, is permanently on call as the girl's second mum.
Some weeks it's impossible. If it wasn't for my mum, she feeds us some weeks. Once I've paid the bills, there's just no money, and I get paid fortnightly. And if mum didn't sort of come in with the occasional food package, we would be on baked beans, and we have, you know, quite often eaten baked beans for 2 or 3 nights in a row, and I'll skip a meal, knowing that there's only enough to feed the children. I'll sort of skip a couple of meals.
Oh, they're not goodies.
They are goodies.
They're not. They're vegetables. They're not goodies. I thought you meant goodies.
And we had to go to an orthopaedic now.
The Mulligan kids are certainly extraordinary achievers. Their trophies represent their success in the classroom and in the gymnasium. They have, however, still been forced to deal with the stigma associated with being part of a single-parent family, which is even present in their own peer group.
They'd run around school saying, oh, guess what, so-and-so hasn't got a father anymore, and this is what he did, and they'd spread rumours about that. And some of the rumours that those people have spread are still getting back to me.
I was like burning up inside. I just want to punch somebody. I was so mad because they don't know what's going on. I mean, it's not really none of their business. And I was really mad because they didn't know the whole story.
Yeah, I think that would hurt. I think that's what hurts the most, is that they make assumptions. They don't know your background. They don't know the actual story. I mean, we don't know the actual story ourselves, so it really gets you thinking. So if we don't know, how can they know, and how can they make those judgments?
Mm. How do you feel then when you hear Jerusha telling stories about being teased at school for not having a dad?
I ache. I ache inside.
I don't know. Look at the skirt. That's not a skirt. That's not a skirt. That's culottes.
You have times when you really don't think you're getting anywhere. You take 1 step forwards and 3 steps back. Mm. But then I look at the girls and I think, no, they're growing up into really beautiful young women. They're self-assured in lots of ways. They have, I think they have really good self-esteem. They're working hard at school and they're achieving. And I think their future is assured because we are all working together.
I'm going to change.
What, you've got 2 minutes, 45 seconds. Lift it, shift it and change it.
The Mulligan family's drawn a lot of support from the Parents Without Partners organisation. Christine was reluctant to join the group at first, but she's glad her mother dragged her along because it's here that she's found emotional support and people who've even been willing to do work around her house. And the kids have found acceptance in a group which brings together all types of people trying to cope with life in a single-parent family.
It's helped me realise that there are people out there in the world who are just like me, and it's woken me up, because it's really, I used to think, oh yeah, well, I'm from a single parent home, I've really got no goals in life, I'm really, you know, I'm a total washout, I'm really not that good, you know, I'm the worst person in the world because I've come from a broken home.
I think we've got to get out of our minds that the traditional family is the only way to go, that mum, dad and the kids is the only way. It's not. I think there's a lot to be said for people who are out there doing it differently.
We ask you, Lord, to bless his food. We ask you, Lord, to bless his food. Accept our
family is bonding, family is emotions, family is trust, family is security and love. And it doesn't matter which parent gives it. If you're a single parent family and you're giving your children that, then you're a family in every sense of the word.
Amen. Amen.
I think the family has been through a period of serious ill health, and because we've begun to recognise what the consequences of that are, we're paying attention again to the health of the family, accepting that we are probably stifling family life if we try to straitjacket it into old patterns. We're going to accept new patterns, but we're going to be much more careful about nurturing the families we've got, whatever structures they happen to have.
And that just about wraps up the show for tonight. We'll be here at 8 o'clock on Thursdays until December, so I hope you'll stay with us through the series. Next week, changes in the workplace. Once a source of security and personal identity, now increasingly a place of pressure and fear.
Some people can handle the stress, and some people just cannot.
Does it have to be like this? Or is there a better way? Well, that's next week on Living in the 90s. I look forward to your company then. We'll leave you with some more of Glen Nicholas. Good night.
House on shed. And in the shed, you got that. That's your spare fridge. That's where Dad keeps his 5 slabs of in there, out there. In there, out there. In there, out there. Just do that. Cut out the middleman. Okay. House, shed, oh dear. And when the stress of life of the 90s gets too much, you take a holiday. Holiday is a very important part of the great Australian dream. Where do you go on the holiday? To the beach. How do you get there? In the car, in the Holden. You get in the Holden, everyone in. Here we go. You drive mile after mile after mile after mile after mile, because the further you drive, the better the holiday is. It's a fact.